Miss Lana. We are live on the Black and White Show with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest. Lana, how are you, ma'am?
I'm here. Hey, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. We talked about on the last show that I will be going on vacation tomorrow to the fabulous city of Las Vegas, Nevada, one of my favorite places in the world. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe, normally we've been doing about an hour and 40 minutes. I was like, maybe we'll be doing maybe not as long of a show tonight, but if the 10-minute conversation that Lana and I just had before we went on air is any indication of how time just kind of gets away from us, it's still definitely possible. We could be talking for quite some time. And, there is no, obviously the beauty of this, there is no, we need to end at a certain time. We just go until we feel like stop talking. Right?
What time is your flight?
Not until the afternoon. So I haven't even thought about packing, but I have not packed yet. But I gotta, I can get up in the morning and probably do a quick little workout, come home, shower, pack, and then, luckily
it's so easy. Women are just like, oh my God, my hair stuff.
And they be packing 2 weeks before the trip. Yeah.
What shoes are gonna go with what happens?
I'm 30 minutes in. I go into the closet. I grab a bunch of shit. I throw it in there, and I hope some of this matches.
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get to a place of if I don't have it, just go and buy it. Like if you're missing something or you need another pair of jeans, just go buy a pair of jeans.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that on vacation where I've been like, shit, I forgot such and such, and here I am now. I've got 9 fucking battery chargers for my phone, so that's a vacation. So it's wasted money, but what can you do? It's still fun, and I can't wait. I'm looking very much forward to it.
There's no such thing as wasting money when you get older. It's like, you know what?
Yep.
I'm just gonna. You get to an age when you're young, you try to save your money, you need to buy a house, all this crazy stuff. You get to a certain age, you're like, before retirement, I better just go on and live it up because once I'm retired, I'm probably going to be on a budget.
It is so funny you say that because I was on a screw it tour in 2023. I really was. I was in the beginning of the year, I'm a big sports fan. So a lot of my teams were somewhat successful this year. So I'm a Hurricanes fan in basketball. They made it to the Final Four. So I traveled to Houston for that. I said, screw it, I'm going. There was a trip to New York City I took this year. As you know, I flew up to Boston for Game 7 of the Heat Celtics game because I'm a diehard Celtics fan. I said, screw it, I'm going. I can't miss this. Went up to Atlanta to watch the Mets play. So I'm kind of in screw it mode. And I'm going to Vegas.
Yeah, and you should be. See, I do it with clothes. So if there's a pair of $300 shoes that I want at this age, I work. I'm buying the shoes. If they're comfortable, I'm not get that. I'm not buying cheap shoes no more. I ain't 20.
I do not blame you. It is. We're in a part of the life, although I suspect you are much younger than I am, but I'm in a mode.
Never know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, I'm just going to assume I'm talking to the 33-year-old Lana Quest. So
that's me.
So
or the 29-year-old daughter.
Yes, yeah. We won't know how that. We don't know how that works.
We don't know how that works.
It's a miracle.
Yeah,
it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Should we start the show, or do we keep talking about whatever we want to talk about?
Retweet the show or repost it.
Oh yes, to Lana's. I haven't even seen the count lately. What, up to 100,000 yet?
No,
getting there.
64.
Sorry, 64,000.
100,000. What is that?
Oh, you'll be there.
Yeah. I mean,
I told you the one time I saw you were like 20 something. Now you're at 60. So it's getting up there. So I started kind of today with there seems like a couple of topics to talk about. And then of course, something new pops up, and then I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, there's like a bunch of shit that I wanted to at least play some clips on. So I've got a load of clips. If you look down here, Lana, you can see it. The audience can't, but we have a lot of clips. Some we may get to, some we may not. But we're going to start with some breaking news, and it's probably not breaking news at this point, but
It's been on 3 news cycles already.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I say there's probably something happening again. There's something happening right now that's probably legit breaking news, but this is old news now.
Yeah, right.
A judge ruled Tuesday that Donald Trump committed fraud for years while building the real estate empire that capitulated him to fame and the White House. By the way, that really is as old of news as you could. Now it's just official through a court system, but that has been news.
Yeah.
I've been talking for years about the fraudulent businessman that Donald Trump has been, and always will be. Judge Arthur Engoron, ruling in a civic lawsuit brought by New York City Attorney General Letitia James, found that the former president and his company deceived banks, insurers, and others by massively overhauling his assets and exaggerating his net worth on paperwork used in making deals and securing financing. Engoron ordered that some of Trump's business licenses be rescinded as punishment, making it difficult or impossible for them to do business in New York, and said that he will continue to have an independent monitor oversee the Trump Organization operations. Trump, of course, says he did nothing wrong, but in essence, I mean, that never. But in essence, that means that Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and the rest of the morons associated with the Trump Organization can no longer do business in the state of New York, where he is from, where he made his fraudulent millions of dollars. Lana. And I'd like to point out that this guy is by far the leading candidate for the Republican Party.
Yes. I mean, all of that. So, and not only that, his business are going to be dissolved. So not only can he not do any more businesses, the businesses that he has now, they're going to be dissolved. They're done.
So just so I'm clear, because I don't know if you saw, like Trump Tower, that's done. Is it?
Yes. They have to hire, or not hire, but appoint a special attorney or someone to oversee the dissolution of his LLCs, his organizations. I mean, he should be used to this. He got in trouble for using his charities as a personal piggy bank and can't ban from philanthropy, him and his kids. Like you said, this has just he's been a sexual assaulter and a fraudulent businessman for decades.
And a sexual assaulter that has been shown in court by one woman. Sexual assault is a pretty, serious allegation, but
they said it's rape. Like the judge said, it's rape.
Yeah.
It's just because of New York laws.
Just, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, the way they word it.
Yeah. So this story in, I don't know, 5 years ago, no, not even 5, let's say 7, 8 years ago, would be a story that would be on everybody's minds. Every single American would be talking about it. It would be all over the place. And it's almost, because this was one of the first the prosecution actually cases that was brought against Donald Trump. Now, this is a civil suit. It's not it's not a criminal lawsuit. And Letitia James is seeking $250 million in damages, which will be determined in another trial that is upcoming in the next few days. But this, because this happened first, and there's been 4 subsequent to that, and that doesn't even include the rape trial. It's almost treated as if like this was on Judge Judy. It's just like a regular case that was on.
Right. And like you said, he is he's the front runner.
But I mean,
Republican Party.
It's like it's almost like he ran out of the gate and everybody else just stayed in there. That's how far ahead he is. Although I can't see Donald Trump outrunning anybody, but it's shocking to me. and we'll probably jump all over the place a little bit here. I always like to write things down in a certain order, but sometimes it just doesn't work that way. The fact that he has such a lead against all these other, now, be honest, I mean, or honestly, the candidates that he's running against, there's really nothing there to like, you at one point we thought Ron DeSantis was the guy, and now I swear, Lana, before we even came on there, I literally almost forgot about Ron DeSantis.
Right.
It's amazing.
It is, because he really is a little Trump, but why would anyone want a little Trump when they have the big Trump?
But the funny thing is, and I think the reason why there was a possibility that he could have made some headway in this race is that if you remember a year ago or whatever, when they did some preliminary polls, Ron DeSantis in some polls was slightly ahead of Donald Trump.
Right.
And that's when Donald Trump decided to attack. He was like, okay, this guy thinks he's going to come after me. And this was before he even ran. This is before he even announced he was going to run. So that probably gave DeSantis a little bit of like sticking out his chest and I can actually beat this guy. Now he's not even beating Chris Christie.
Like, how do you beat
or Vivek Ramaswamy?
How do you beat them if you can't attack them?
That's the saddest part. And then he tried to do it a little bit later, and it just came across as manufactured. It just doesn't seem genuine, especially from a guy who literally had commercials with his kid about building the wall, Donald Trump, and now he just all the major donors are going away. It sounds like all the major donors are going away from a lot of candidates because they're kind of like, why am I spending this money? I mean, none of these people have a chance.
Right. Wow. Republicans have not had what we would call a decent candidate in years. I mean, like Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Herschel Walker?
Yeah.
Dr. Oz?
And again, the thing that is
Lake?
Yeah. I mean, they have some cuckoo clocks that are Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, ones who actually won. It defies logic. And, part of what, it looks like is that, again, I've talked about this before, how much I hate our media. The media normalizes this now, and they don't call it out because they want to both sides everything, and they want to make sure, and I understand the journalistic, integrity of, we don't want to make it look like we're rooting for a side here, but this is not George Bush or Jeb Bush, as we'll get into, versus versus Joe Biden. It's Donald Trump who is a direct threat to the democracy of the United States.
But they at least should be fair with the reporting. It's like, because Biden doesn't give them anything that's salacious, they're stuck with reporting on the stupid polls and the age.
Yeah. So since you brought that up, there was a new ABC poll that recently came out, and I'm sure you've seen it, where they said that Donald Trump was leading Joe Biden in this poll by 10 points. Now, according to their own poll, I mean, ABC literally came out and said that this poll was an outlier, that it, may not be as it seems.
You think?
Well, also, too, it says that Donald Trump was leading young people over Joe Biden by 20 points.
Right. Like, come on.
And ABC has a lot of credibility in their polls. Is there something to it? Obviously, we seriously doubt it, especially since they even admitted that, their own poll is an outlier. But the fact that there is even a poll that suggests that Donald Trump is not even just ahead by 10 points, he's ahead by 0.00001 points, really is It's really concerning. And again, I harken back to this a million times, is that, we have two medias here now, where we used to just basically have one media, and the media was like, let's just report the news, let's just tell everybody what's happening, and then you make a decision. Now the news is making decisions for you. And there is one side of the news that is 100% basically lying to make those decisions for you, as opposed to another media that is not necessarily calling out some of the things, and they're even giving into polls like this. And they're, I'm sure you've seen a lot lately, where, in fact, in this poll, they're talking about Joe Biden's age still.
Right.
And that, I'm just telling you, that's just, it drives me nuts that we're talking about. It's not like, first of all, it's not like Joe Biden's running against a guy who's 57.
They're essentially the same age.
They're essentially the same age.
I mean, I will give it to Morning Joe. Like, there are some media that, read the polls, but then laugh at them. Like, what is this? This is ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you, Lana. I mean, so laughing at them is certainly something, is the first thing that I think about doing. But do we take any of this seriously? Is it something that we look at and go, all right, we all know fucking Donald Trump is not leading Joe Biden by 10 points. That's just not, and the reason why we know that is because every single other poll has it within a point, tied, Joe Biden's leading, so it's not true. But at what point do we take these seriously?
I don't take the poll seriously. I think we should just take he may win. Like, you don't need a poll to say that there is a possibility, if we don't all come out to vote, he will win. Like, fuck what the polls are saying. We control the polls, and the polls are only going to get a subset of individuals anyway. Because is the polls getting all these women that are having their rights being taken away, or that are being impacted by these abortion laws? Like, is the polls getting that? Because that's a big group of people. Because we see it. We see what Wisconsin did. We saw what Kansas did. Like, we're seeing that these states are like, these women they're speaking out. Like, it's.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I've heard even Republicans say that, if we do not address the abortion issue correctly, we're going to lose this election. They're just going to lose it. And, you're right, too. We are paying attention to these polls, and we've seen other polls that have had us concerned. We thought there was supposed to be this gigantic red wave, and I'm not necessarily sure that was even a poll thing. I think that might have been more of a media thing, of, again, trying to scare the shit out of people.
Right.
And then next thing you know, there was no red wave. And historically, not only did Joe Biden hold on to the Senate, which almost never happens, they almost won the House, and they probably would have, had there not have been a few gerrymandering laws that were not changed in the course of time, specifically in New York, where the Democrats probably would have held on to the House.
Right. You know what drives me crazy?
I'm sure there's a lot, but let's listen to this one.
So, I just lost it. It drives me crazy when they. Oh my god, I just lost. I should have wrote it down.
I'm sorry. Did I?
No. It happened. No, because I was thinking like 2 or 3 things at once. Oh, they keep running out of. Okay, every news cycle they have like their analysts, and the analysts come on and say this is what the Dems need to focus on, right? And they're all saying just the different things, and they're not getting the message out. It's the economy. They need to talk about that more. It's Biden's accomplishments. They need to talk about that more. They need to highlight Trump's gaffes. Like, it's just like, you're not going to get it all. It's impossible for the Democrats to have one message when there's so much fire and smoke going on. Like, how do you just be one message? Is all I guess they need to find one that encompasses everything, but you're not going to be able to be like make it a run on abortion at the same time that you're going economy. Like something's got to give. Like you got I guess later on maybe they'll figure out
I was
what
just
that
about to say that. I think that's a media sort of thing. They're like, let's get the clicks, let's get the views now, scare the shit out of people. So they're watching us and they're watching us. And then maybe around the 4-month mark to the or 5-month mark to the then we just let loose and go, this guy's a fucking idiot. There's no
right.
way you can let him. And that's a possibility. But to me, I hope that that's not true. And we're not saying that it is true. But if there is any truth to that, that's sickening. I mean, it makes me sick to
Yeah, I'm
think
talking about
that.
the Democrats too, though. Like their messaging, like what is their messaging right now of how do we get Biden, because
Well,
Biden's not going to be exciting. He's just
nope,
not. We
no.
can't wait for this man to be like this. And I think that's why everyone thinks of him as old, because even when Joe was 50, he was probably the same guy. He's
He was a little
boring.
bit more boisterous and a little bit more charismatic, and when he was younger. But I've said this a million times, is that the difference is that I do believe that a lot of the Democrats are getting their message out there. The problem is that they don't have a media machine like the
Right.
Fox News is and all that. They
Right.
just are on repeat, constantly
Right.
repeat. Democrats
Right.
suck. Democrats are going to take your
Right.
kids. Democrats are going to take your guns. Democrats are going to, and it
Yeah.
freaks people the fuck out. In
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
I have a couple of clips here that I want to play of some Trump supporters that I
Okay.
saw over the last week.
Cool.
And this gives you an idea of just how powerful that the right-wing media is. I want you to listen. There was a lady that was interviewed by, I can't remember his name, but he's the weird dude that is now Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, which again, I find funny is that, yeah, she's dating somebody on a whacked out news channel, but she's a whacked out moron herself. So this is him interviewing a lady, asking her what Donald Trump has done for her.
What is Trump under his policies? How did it benefit your life? Are you work? Are you retired? I mean,
No, I'm disabled. I have a broken plate in my back. And it really bummed me because during COVID, I was supposed to get my third surgery and have it fixed. And when the doctor, a very big specialist, went to fix it, he said, "Where's your Medicaid?" I said, "What do you mean, where's my Medicaid?" "Well, they took my Medicaid." So I'm coming up here hoping I can get my surgery done.
well, it's interesting, right?
And go ahead, Lana. What were you going to say?
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene's new boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
They look alike,
They
but he looks like her dad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I say. He's got a face that looks like it's been stung by like a couple of bees.
Yeah.
It's
Was
just
they taking the same steroids?
they're just weird. But,
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that lady, it's easy to probably say a lot of bad things about her, but I just listening to her talk, I almost want to give her a hug, because it's just like, ma'am, gosh, this poor lady needs Medicaid. And this is something that the Republicans and Donald Trump and all these guys will rip away from her.
Right.
And
right.
she is there at a Trump rally, sadly.
Hoping to get her back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote a tweet today and it was kind of like said something like you don't get to complain about the price of groceries if you're donating your money to Trump's campaign. You don't get to complain if whatever.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? And this woman wrote, this is ally, she was like, her parents have she believes that her parents are sending their Social Security, no, their retirement to Donald Trump because they don't have a retirement anymore. And all they're doing is relying on their Social Security. And they blame Biden that they don't have retirement anymore. But they've been...
It's unbelievable. First of all, if they're talking about retirement, I'm assuming they're talking about a 401k or, whatever it is. It always cracks me up when people talk about their 401k now and the 401k is really tied into the stock market. And the stock market when Donald Trump left office was under 30,000. Now it's right at 34,000. So your 401k is better now than it was when Donald Trump left office.
But they lie, and half the people that are saying what they're saying don't even have a 401k.
Correct.
Like they're just lying.
That's true too. A lot of them make up stuff that they hear on the news and they want to regurgitate it.
Right.
And say it as if it is happening to them.
Gas prices are so high when you're living in bumfuck Alabama and your gas prices are probably $2.70. Like,
well, and this is going to tie into something we're going to talk to a little bit later about the UAW strike. In fact, I'll get to some clips on that. I want to play one more clip of this Trump supporter. She was asked what policies Donald Trump had that she loved, and let's take a look at her answer.
That you like Trump's policies. Which of his policies are policies that you like?
Before she answers, I want to be fair here. Certainly, we can find some Democrats where you can ask them the same question and they really wouldn't know the answer. But I feel confident that the people who vote for Trump who don't know these answers triple in size to the ones that Democrats answer. I feel confident about that. I will argue that with anybody, but let's take a look at this brilliant answer.
April.
Looking for somebody else's help.
April?
The Roe versus Wade happened because of Trump.
Well, okay, so let's. I was asking her. I'm going to get to you. Okay. Well, what's your talk to me a little bit about which policies you like.
Well, just I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of one right off the bat, but
I'd like to see him get us out of debt. Definitely.
Do you think
cost of living is way too high right now, and jobs don't pay enough?
Do you think that? So you want him to bring up the minimum wage?
Yes, definitely. Because people can't live off what minimum wage is now and support a family. I mean, there's just no way.
So you support the Democrats in Congress who are trying to fight for a minimum wage increase?
Yes. I mean, yeah. But yeah.
These are people who vote, and this is what we're talking about. And again, this is how powerful that propaganda media machine is that they just say shit. Biden's terrible. Trump is your hero. And they don't look into it any further from that.
They don't know. They don't know Republicans vote against free school meals for kids. They don't know. They're trying to get your Social Security. They don't know.
And that is a nice bulk of the, or at least a good amount of the Trump voters.
I mean, well, minimum wage. We got the debt. He put you in debt.
It's not just, they're talking about the national debt. He had just short of what Obama added to the debt, but he did it in 4 years. Barack Obama did it in 8 years, and Barack Obama had to take over probably the second worst economy in U.S. history.
Yeah.
So not even probably, definitely the second worst economy in U.S. history he had to take over.
Yeah.
And so, there had to have been a lot of money spent just to save the auto industry, just to save,
And he saved them. And they will never admit it because after Bush left, it was people were losing their houses. They were falling prey to those predatory loans. Obama came in. He was like, I have a way that you don't have to lose your homes. You can't refinance because your credit's fucked up from all of this mess going on. we're going to do modifications. Like, he saved people's houses. He saved the auto, and they will never give him credit for it.
Well, no, it's because, like I said, the propaganda machine, again, if there is fair news, it's okay to have a counterpoint to something, and that's fine. Let's have a counterpoint that makes some sort of sense, or you have an economic expert that may say, look, Obama did this, it was great, but blah, 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 blah. And it's something that can fill in some blanks that you would be like, okay, I could kind of see that. But we have a propaganda machine that just flat lies and
But
just does not care.
Isn't that though, Brian? Like, is it just a propaganda machine? Because some of the things, they fucking see it. They know that Joe Biden was the president when they were getting that child tax credit. They know that happened under Biden. They know that, but they will act like it didn't happen. Like,
well, I'm glad you said that. That's why it makes it so much scarier is that, they may have seen it, but they're still being told it doesn't matter. I think Donald Trump used the words before, don't believe what you see.
Don't believe the check in your hand that the government is giving you to keep you out of poverty, or the moratorium. Like, just don't forget. He's trying to get your kids' loans forgiven and your loans forgiven, and you're fighting it. What the fuck?
It makes no sense. Speaking of making no sense, that same ABC poll, the overall economy, excellent or good, only 25% say yes, 74% say no. Food prices, 8% to 91%, and gas prices, 12% to 87%. The unemployment rate, they say at 35% is excellent or good. It's the lowest of all time. And they're asked about the unemployment rate, and it is 35% they say is excellent or good, but it's the lowest of all time. Lana,
we'll never be
help
happy.
me.
Voters will never be happy. They just fucking will never be. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know if voters want like a magic wand and they think that all of a sudden bread is going to go back to 10 cents a loaf. The shit is not happening. It is going to go, like, prices go up because the cost of living and our wages are supposed to go up as well, which is why Democrats in Congress are fighting to get the minimum wage raised, because these prices are not going back down on this food. Like, it just, that's not going to happen. It's going to keep going up. That's just what it is. Who's responsible for that? Republicans voted against an anti-price gouging law. They voted against it.
Yep. And, what you were just saying is that the inflation has not, or the wages have not kept up with inflation over the years. And you're exactly right. And that's something I was going to talk about earlier is, some of this inflation, I think at this point, pretty much the bulk of the inflation left to where we can get it down are these gas, maybe not in some ways the oil industry, but definitely the food industry raised their prices when they did not need to raise prices. They doubled their profits. And when somebody suggested, well, maybe you can bring these prices down, I'm like, fuck no, we've already set our prices. Why would like what you just said? Why would we bring them down? People are still paying for our food. We're still making record profit. And call me crazy. Explain to me why that should not be illegal. Same thing in price gouging. When there are some places where if you price gouge, that is illegal. Why is this not illegal?
Right. Exactly.
We know why, but
we're just gonna blame Biden. Like, it's just so. It's like whoever is in the White House, it's like the other people can do it better. It's like, what do you want, America? Like, I'm so confused with what people want. Like, they did that with Obama. It's like he didn't do anything for Black people. Like, what did you want this man to do? Like, walk to your door and give you like a publishing clearinghouse check and like reparations here? Like, that's not how any of this works. Like, it's about the policies.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but see, I think even the propaganda machine worked against black people there. They were like, well,
Yeah.
Obama's not giving
Yeah.
you what you thought you were getting.
Yep.
And there's some people in the black community who are like, hey, maybe they're right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because again, I don't know. I'm having a difficult time even concentrating anymore because this is just so fucking crazy. The fact I want to know who the fuck they're asking these questions, by the way, because I've never in my life been asked one poll question ever, not once. And somebody just 35% said that the unemployment.
But 35% of what? Like, how many people were even in that poll? Like, we don't.
It was a little over 1,000.
Oh, that's not a lot.
No, it's not. And again, even to their own poll, it's an outlier. But still, I just.
No, you're right.
Damn it, man. That just really fucking pisses me off. And what else pisses me off? What I was saying earlier, we were talking about it. This Biden age thing is starting to get on my nerves, especially and we talked about this last week, and we're going to talk about it again this week. The cognitive issues seem to be coming from the guy who's 4 years younger than the guy who is 4 years older. I saw President Biden today, at the UAW strike, and he was on the picket line, first president ever to, or in a century, I think it was, to do that. And I heard him speak, and sounded fine to me. Yeah. Donald Trump spoke recently again. This is fresh off of him thinking he beat Obama. And again, it wasn't a mistake because he said his name 3 times. He said Obama's name 3 times in a 60-second clip. He thought Joe Biden was going to start World War II, which I think we have already determined that has already happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was I think there was one other one, but here's another doozy from Donald Trump at one of his.
Oh, you have a clip?
Hey, damn right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to clip this sumbitch up and listen to Donald Trump fuck up again. Here we go.
4 months before the season starts, we start in Iowa, we go to New Hampshire, we come down here. You know, the beauty was when I came here, everyone thought Bush was going to win. And then they took a poll and they found out Trump was up by about 50 points. Everyone said, what's going on right here? They thought Bush, because Bush supposedly was a military person. Great. You know what? He was a military. He got us into the Middle East. How did that work out, right? But they all thought that Bush might win. Jeb. Remember Jeb? He used the word Jeb. He didn't use the word Bush. I said, you mean he's ashamed of the last name? And then they immediately started using the name Bush. Never forget it. But we came here.
So he thought he was running against his brother George, or he thinks that Jeb was the president at some point and got us into the war in the Middle East.
And the audience just doesn't know because they're just.
I think some of them even sound good. Some of them, it's almost funny. They're almost like, hi.
They probably got a little confused, like, hi. Right. But they'll never, it doesn't.
No.
It just doesn't matter. It's so funny because I wrote down some of his greatest hits.
Oh, thank you. I love this.
Trump suggested raking forest floors to help prevent fires. Trump said a hurricane was one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
That was a time when he was the president of the United States, by the way, leading the country.
Trump said wind turbine noise caused cancer. Trump stared at the sun during an eclipse. Remember that?
100%.
Trump pronounced the national park Yosemite as Yosemite.
Yosemite. And he said it twice. Yosemite. Yosemite. Yep.
Trump had a note reminding himself to say, I hear you when meeting with mass shooting victims, because he had the note where we could see.
I remember that.
Trump drew on a hurricane map with a Sharpie.
So basically what you're saying is this show has the potential to go 3 hours tonight. Give us some more, because this is.
He's like really smart and a very stable genius.
Yeah.
One more. Trump, let's see. Hold one more. All right, there's one more.
Take your time. By the way, while you're looking that up, in the same rally that he said going back to the windmill thing, he said that the windmill are killing the whales.
The whales.
Yeah.
The whales. It's killing the whales. I got out of here. So yeah, I don't know. He's a stable genius, man. Remember he took the cognitive test?
Yeah.
Man, woman, TV, whatever.
And he said that the doctor told him he's never seen anything like it. Nobody's ever passed this incredible test that a 7-year-old could pass. He thought that was like he thought it was an IQ test.
Yeah.
It was a test, a cognitive test is what it was.
I mean, no shade. I'm happy when I remember stuff too. I'm just like, oh, should I remember that?
You don't call yourself a genius. You're like, thank God I remembered it. My mind's not totally gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are we doing? First of all, I thought we fucking got rid of this guy the last time, and he's back. This is like a Friday the 13th where Jason just keeps coming back over and over and over again with that stupid mask.
Is he the only president that lost, ex-president, and then came back
again?
Yeah.
You know what? There might have been one in the early history, in the recent history that has not happened.
Thing.
Yeah. Because usually they just kind of go off into the sunset. Yeah. But also, too, once you lose, there kind of is no coming back from that. It's kind of like your used goods in a way. But
right. And that's the interesting thing about the polls. And I think we talked about it. Like, he already lost. He's not gaining an electorate at all. They're not trying to get an electorate. They're not getting black and brown and people. So what electorate? The Latinos that he has, the Cubans or whatever, he'll get their little vote, but the vast majority is not voting for him. Independents that didn't vote for him before, no one's going back to him if they didn't vote for him, because he's even worse now.
100%. And first of all, again, the fact that we're talking about normalizing a guy that's he doesn't have one felony count. He doesn't have two, he doesn't have three, he doesn't have four. He's got, I can't even say it. He's got 91 felony counts, and there's more coming.
How is that even possible? That's 91 felony counts, a rapist, and a fraudster.
And he may have illegally purchased a gun too recently.
Do you have that clip?
I don't. I know.
That clip was so weird and bizarre with him like holding it in his small little hands, and he's
what is this?
Marjorie Taylor Greene just there like, they like you. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I don't know what's happening. I mean, this is like we said earlier, there's a possibility this fucking guy could win.
Yeah.
And if, he wins, it's not gonna be good. Although the savior is the Democrats have a decent chance of taking the House back. They have a good chance of taking the Senate back. But again, you never know. You never know what people are thinking. But again, as I try to settle my mind more and more with this, as you were talking about earlier, we do think a lot about what has happened since 2016. And since then, Donald Trump and candidates that are Donald Trump sycophants and far right-wing policies and far right-wing judges are not winning. They're just not winning.
Right.
And they're getting beat significantly.
Right.
So why would that change? I don't know. I don't know why that would change. But let's go to our current president, who, again, was on the picket line today, which was a historical event. Now, some people will say, oh, Joe Biden's just doing this to get attention. He's doing this to score points. Joe Biden, first of all, and Democrats have said it, Republicans have said it, is the most pro-union president we have ever had. So if anybody doesn't think Joe Biden isn't genuine about this, then you're not being genuine about your analysis of it, because
Right.
he is 100%
Right.
genuine about this.
Right. Right.
No question about it.
Right.
And Donald Trump, who plans on being there tomorrow, I believe it is,
So weird.
he is
I
not
hope he gets-
genuine
I
about
hope
this
he
at
gets
all.
Booed. How is he going to show his face, Brian? Like, I don't even understand. This is somebody that tried to bust up unions. He never hired union workers to do work for him. He hired, we know who he hired, the people that he hates, that he
And then
wants to
didn't pay
kill them.
him. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was in his business. And then as president, same thing. He hired a bunch of people. They found out what a fucking moron he was. They came out and said he was a moron. And then he comes out and goes, those people were terrible. You know, there were rhinos or whatever the stupid shit he says. But you know, if the UAW president has anything to say about it, he did not have a lot of kind words for Donald Trump. But first, I want to play this clip of our president, the great Joe Biden, who I can't fucking wait to vote for again in 2024. And anybody else who says different could fuck off. Sorry, Lana. But here's here's our president, Joe Biden. on the
Oh,
picket line.
Joe.
I watched a lot of UAW picket lines when I was a senator since 1973, but I tell you what, first time I've ever done it as president. Folks, look, one thing is real simple, and it's very brief. The fact of the matter is that you guys, the UAW, you saved the automobile industry back in 2008 and before. Made a lot of sacrifices, gave up a lot, and the companies were in trouble. But now they're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well too. Because you deserve the significant raise you need and other benefits.
Let's get it.
We'll get back what we lost, okay? Yeah. We say them, it's about time them to step up for us. Thank you.
That is our phenomenal president, Joe Biden. And what he just said was, again, we were talking about inflation and the food companies, you know, raising their prices unnecessarily and just keeping them the way they are, because why would we lower them? It's the same concept with the auto industry there, when back in 2008, everybody basically had to take a pay cut, and that included the workers, that included the CEO. Well, the CEOs were bailed out, but you know, that included a lot of people. So subsequent to that, the auto industry got back on its feet, thank you to President Barack Obama. And as they did get back on their feet, they started to record record profits. As they were recording those record profits, the union workers, who basically took the deal back then to say, okay, we understand we have to go backwards. It sucks. You know, again, the auto industry making record profits.
Yeah.
And now they're not sharing those record profits with the people that they basically push backwards a little bit, and they want their fucking money. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, give me my money. Fuck that trickle down shit, because there's no such thing.
That is exactly right. There's no such thing as the trickle down in concept.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know if it was good, even if they would have made it work. But, you know, on paper, it sounds like it would be the right thing, but you're going to sit here and tell me you're going to put a multimillionaire or a billionaire, you know, in charge of basically saying, don't worry, I gotcha. You know, I will guarantee you that more money went to their grandchildren than went to their workers.
Right. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. They don't care about the workers. You played that tape, the video the other week. That guy talking about,
he said it out loud. And again, these people are just saying it now. And then you still have this poor lady who was at the Trump rally saying, you know, I'm here to see Donald Trump so I can get my Medicaid back. And it's just unbelievable.
Tim Scott said the fire.
Yeah,
strikers.
correct. Yep. Well, he's trying to take a page out of Ronald Reagan's playbook, who, when they had the airline strike back when he was president, basically came out and said, look, fuckers, get back to work or you're going to be fired.
Imagine And
Yeah.
Americans are still on board because they don't. Republicans say the outlandish things, and it never gets played on Fox News.
No, never, never. And even if it did,
Yeah,
I'm wondering the comprehension level,
Right.
or at least the attempt to comprehend it. I don't know. But Sean Fain, who is the president of the UAW, was on with Wolf Blitzer from CNN,
Mhm.
and they were talking about the visit that Donald Trump plans on making, and this is what he had to say.
Irony that the former president is going to hold a rally for union members at a non-union business. And, all you have to do is look at his track record. His track record speaks for itself. In 2008, during the Great Recession, he blamed UAW members. He blamed our contracts for everything that was wrong with these companies. That's a complete lie. In 2015, when he was running for president, he talked about doing a rotation, taking all these good-paying jobs in the Midwest and moving them somewhere in the South where people work for less money, and then to make people beg for their jobs back at lower wages. And the ultimate show of how much he cares about our workers was in 2019 when he was the president of the United States. Where was he then? Our workers at GM were on strike for 60 days, for 2 months. They were out there on the picket lines. I didn't see him hold a rally. I didn't see him stand up at the picket line, and I sure as hell didn't hear him comment about it.
Now, I don't know how many of the union workers listen to every word that Sean Fain has to say, but, when you lay it out in a pretty clear, and those UAW workers who were on strike in 2019 are certainly probably still there now.
Right.
So for them to forget that, and for them to not understand the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, as I said, he's not genuine about this at all. He's full of shit. He doesn't give a fuck about these people, but somebody told him, hey, go pretend like you care about them, and maybe you could steal some votes.
Well, he gave tax cuts and shit to those CEOs of those companies. Like, what? You can't be both. You can't be both. You can't be pro big corporation and then pro union work. You're not going to be both.
Yeah, and again, Donald Trump has a way of convincing some people that he means what he doesn't say. And it's obvious that there's a large amount of people that will vote for him because they believe that he was either sent here by God, or he is a man of the people. He's the guy for the little guy, even though he has stepped on the little guy his entire life and laughed about it.
Yeah.
He is not for the military. I'm sure you heard the story recently about when there was a gentleman, gosh, I wish I had his name, but they were at a ceremony and he was in a wheelchair. And he looked over to General Milley and said, why do you bring people here like that? Nobody wants to see that. This is the same guy who called veterans losers and suckers. And there are still people who are veterans who are in every class that I said will vote for this guy still.
I'm like, did they not get the memo?
No. No. And it's just
he's never led a life of service. Like that alone, Barack Obama started off as like a community organizer.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Donald Trump started off defrauding, doggone discrimination, racial discrimination. Like that's his start and claim to fame. Like,
well, it started. He's the ultimate silver spoon boy.
Yeah.
He
never gave any away. While Obama was president during Thanksgiving, what does he and his family do? They go to wherever they go to give out some goddamn turkeys and some meals.
Right.
The same thing with Joe Biden and his wife. The same thing with the Bushes.
Yeah.
What does Trump did? What did he do?
I think, it's the most concerning thing. Well, it's amongst the most concerning things is that this guy has had, at least right now, before he was running for president. So let's go back at least to 2015. We've had 8 years of this guy to basically prove what a fraud, what a dipshit, what a moron, and how stupid he is. And in some senses, I don't know if he's gotten more popular. I think you're right. I think he's probably lost some of the electorate. But the fact that there is still enough people out there that we go, holy shit, this guy could be president again, is so concerning. And it baffles the mind. You said this not too long ago, is that there are going to be studies and classes on the psychology of these people.
Yeah. Who are they? It's like some autopsies.
Well, luckily you're not around them as much as I am. I see them here.
Sure,
They're around me, and it's it'll drive you nuts. In fact, I used to have some hair, and living around these people, I hate looking at look how much I have no hair anymore. Lana, you should have saw my hair in high school.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever known you to have some hair.
No, I mean, I looked like Screech. I used to have that big, fuck it. Listen.
Now you just cut it off. And as long as you have a goatee, that's what I tell people. Men, y'all could just
have hair somewhere. Yeah. I want to say one last. Yeah. I want to say one last thing about unions too. There's this idea that unions are there's a bunch of people that work under unions, and they can go into work and do whatever the fuck they want. They can screw around and not get fired. That's not how that works. That it just absolutely is not how that works. There is a union president that understands there are still standards, when it comes to your workers and stuff. So you can't go and take your 4-hour break and just go fuck off to the boss. That's not how this works.
No, because if you get fired, the union can't even help you if you're violating the rules like that. Like, what are they going to do for you?
Right.
There's no fight.
Yeah, there are still rules. There are still things that you have to abide by. If you are a unproductive worker, you can get fired by the union. You can get fired where it makes sense. So this idea that the union is just so you can be lazy is just another stupid thing that people bring up, that people buy into. That's very, very disheartening. So I got a couple more clips.
Yay.
That I'd like to play. I know Lana likes clips.
Yep.
So who doesn't like clips? I mean, come on. There was a couple of congressional hearings lately, and there was one clip in particular where the Transportation Secretary, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who is I don't know if he could speak almost every time in everything. It's so good, and just how calm and cool. And it's not just calm and cool. He is almost smarter than every single person he's talking to. You're going to try to fuck with this guy. And I don't know this gentleman's name, but he tried to fuck with Pete Buttigieg about the climate recently. And let's just watch this masterclass. And
nobody wants these electric vehicles unless you're an elite that can afford them. People in my district sure as hell don't want them. So keep going. Why are we doing this? Is it over CO2?
Yeah, we're doing it for 3 reasons. Even though the EV revolution is going to happen anyway.
It's a revolution caused by...
I would love to be able to answer your question, Congressman.
Yeah, okay.
Even though we think that transition is happening in the automotive sector no matter what, there are 3 things that we think are not guaranteed. Will it happen quickly enough to materially help with climate change? Will it happen on equitable terms that are available to people who aren't wealthy and might not be able...
Short on time.
If I could just please finish my answer.
Let's drill on the climate change.
Just finish the third. Will it be made on American soil or not?
It's about CO2, isn't it?
How's
What
that?
percent? What percent of the atmosphere is CO2 that we're chasing here?
I'm sorry?
What percent of the atmosphere is CO2 that we're chasing here? Because you talked about climate change.
I don't know the percentage of atmospheric gases.
You don't know the
that consist
percent of the
CO2.
atmosphere.
What I can tell you is that climate change is real. We got to do something about it.
Yeah, this one's
And
called
we've been-
autumn, sir. So
I'm sorry?
This one's called autumn right now. So yeah,
I'm sorry, I couldn't make out what you said, sir.
this climate change right now is called autumn. Yes.
Yeah, that's the seasons changing, which
Mhm.
respectively is not the same thing as the climate changing.
I love it. I mean, I just love when these people think that they are. And this is the kind of stuff
Well,
that I think
autumn.
people should see all the time. You know, them straightening out these idiots who think they're going to outsmart somebody who is clearly way
Right.
more intelligent that they
Right.
he thinks he's going to get on Sean Hannity's show on a big clip, and
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg just completely derailed that one.
Right, right. And they all do that. Oh, well, how's the climate change if it's supposed to be hot in the summer? And it's just like, oh my,
Just remember the guy who brought in the snowball that one
Yeah, like,
time
it's
in
just like,
Congress, and
climate is not a temperature. Like, that's not the same. It's, oh my God, it's the
I-
impact.
yeah, I want to believe that Pete Buttigieg asked him to
know.
repeat his question twice on purpose,
Yeah.
just to say, please,
Yeah,
Come
say
on.
that dumbness again.
Yeah,
That's
please.
exactly. 'cause
Just so
he's not-
everybody can hear it.
he kept going.
Yeah,
Say it again.
yeah. Can you help me out
I
again?
didn't understand what you just said. You're fucking mumbling because you know you're an idiot and you just wanted to mumble and thought I would answer. I'm gonna make you mumble it again. So.
That is correct. And, you know, he actually had a few more. Damn it, there was one clip, but I would encourage somebody to look this one up. But it was Pete Buttigieg, and there was another Republican who questioned him. But the Republican, actually, this one was pretty nice. I mean, because he legitimately wanted to know the answers to his question, and the discourse between the two of them was as professional and well laid out. And the guy even came up, he goes, look, I'm probably one of the least known people in this room, but I'm not here to try to get clicks. I'm not trying to get a clip on Fox News. I'm not here to try to do. I seriously have a question. Would you mind answering my question? It was very respectful, very, you know, and that's the kind of, you know, discourse that I think all Americans should be able to see. That's the kind of discourse we should have in our politics. But I think that's dead. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. But there are still some people out there that say, look, I'm not here for this ridiculousness.
Do you think that they're lying about knowing what it is? Because it's fair. I mean, you have staff that works for you. You can look this stuff up. Like, it's just not.
You talking about like that gentleman who was just questioning
Yeah, like
Pete
it's just
Buttigieg?
really not rocket science. What you could just Google, you know, the impact of climate change on the environment. Like, you could Google string some words together and get like, it's not because, you know, we've been alive for so long. That's why there's hurricanes are getting stronger. Like, you know, something's going on. Like, it's just.
The answer to your question is he absolutely 100% knows it's happening. But this guy, just like a lot of those other Republicans, are doing the bidding of the oil companies and the, you know, any of these companies that are making billions of dollars and would lose money if climate change was in fact real, which it is. And, you know, this guy probably gets a decent amount of money from oil companies.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is like, if you know that it exists and you know that the storms are getting worse and you know that the sun is getting hotter because we all felt it, you have children. Your children are going to have children. So the money that you're getting now is not going to fix the damage of the earth that your descendants have to live on. Like, I don't.
Well, I think maybe because you live in more of a blue state, and I thought I think it's clear these people don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about their own families. They don't care about
'cause
what
that's
they
the
care about
thing,
is the
right?
money. They care about money
Like
and
that
the money they can get
immediate
now.
yeah.
That's all it is. And there's part of them are thinking, I really don't know that they are thinking that far ahead. I mean, I'm not in their heads, but
They must not be. It
know,
just must maybe I don't know. Like
there
it's
might be a
like,
part of them that are saying it is true, but my kids are not going to have to worry about it. But what about your kids' kids? Or what about their kids? Or
that's the thing. Like it's your kids. It could be 100 years from now, but at some point, something's gonna happen. It's something.
It's incredibly
Catastrophe.
disgusting. And, that's basically what it is. It's that, I'm living now. It's 2023. I'm assuming it's not going to happen in the next, I don't know. That guy looks like he might
Right.
have a good 20 to 30 years left on this earth. He may not have that much, but I'm pretty sure that he,
Yeah, it's calculating.
yeah, that maybe he doesn't care. And I'm assuming a lot because, again, they're basically coming out and saying they don't care about their own voters. They literally are saying, if we can, we'll destroy Social Security. We'll destroy, Medicare and Medicaid. And we don't care about lowering the prescription drug cost and prices for you people. We don't care, even though my fucking grandmother is affected by it. I don't care because I'm making money from these pharmaceutical companies. Fuck grandma. She'll be dead anyway soon. There was actually, if I remember correct, I know I'm remembering this correctly, and I can't remember who said it, but it was during the COVID time, and one of the Republican senators or House members said something to the effect of, well, if old people die, they're just kind of supposed to die.
I remember that.
Yeah. And it just it just boggles your, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. And, again, the fact that we are not just normalizing that behavior, we're normalizing the behavior of a guy like Donald Trump. That's why I said I have such a hard time continuing to watch him in interviews on television.
Right.
And there's part of me that gets it. He's the leading candidate for the president of the United States, which in my opinion, there's no way he should be able to run for president. But unfortunately he is. But to give this guy a platform and to normalize his behavior, because there are literally people, maybe even people who are not going to vote for Donald Trump. It's just like, well, fuck it. Just let him run and whatever happens, happens. And that should not be the attitude. The attitude should be, this is fucking insane. And the fact that this guy is running for president and could possibly win makes you almost think that democracy is, in a way,
it kind of is,
it's on the
because
brink. It's skating on thin ice.
these laws and he's indicted. Like, now you get to come back once you clear yourself of these charges.
Sure.
Because
Absolutely.
how can there ever be a possibility that he can be president with charges hanging over him? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But that is a possibility.
It is a possibility. There's one more clip I'd like to play. There was another congressional hearing, and Senator John Kennedy questioned this young lady. It's the first time I've seen her. Her name is Catherine Ann Edwards, and they were talking about drug costs, and they were talking about how, who's going to pay for these drugs. And her answer is phenomenal, and I thought this deserves some attention. So let's listen to Miss Edwards on her answer to Senator John Kennedy, who just he's another one of those guys who has those grating voices that really drive me nuts.
Jim Jordan.
But the answer is worth listening to his voice. Here we go.
A bill right now, I think it's paid for to try to cap the cost of insulin for everybody, including the uninsured, at $35. But, you reach the point where you say, we can't do everything. So the fair question is, where's the money going to come from, Doc?
The majority of federal revenue comes from taxes, so if you need more money, you'll have to raise taxes. I'll remind you, sir, that we have had 2 massive trillion-dollar tax cuts in the past 20 years, and they have done nothing to make childcare more affordable. They have done nothing to help the casualty and property insurance that you were talking about today. They have not been invested in children, and we have not seen that return. I mean, the 2001 tax cuts have now had 22 years to prove that they could solve the social issues that you and your fellow senators say that are a priority, and I don't think we could point to evidence to say that they have worked. I would love for you to give child care 20 years. I would love for you to say, let's take 2 decades of runway, invest it in young children, and see what kind of return that I could get. But we've never given children or the child care sector as much runway as we've given taxes. And I'll remind you that the estate tax exemption right now is $13 million.
Well, let me say thank you for the honest answer. Raise taxes.
That's a brilliant answer. I'm surprised she was able to get it all off and it wasn't interrupted.
You know why? Because he was shocked too.
100%.
He's probably like, yeah, she got a point there.
I mean, she's right. I mean, all right, we gave you your chance on, what you thought was going to work. Obviously, we cannot point to any evidence whatsoever that what you guys were trying. We talked about this earlier, the trickle down, economics, both of those tax cuts, major tax cuts were by Republican presidents, obviously one by Donald Trump when he was president. And none of it has worked. None of it. And she's like, you know what? How about giving us 20 years? Give us 20 years to see if our plan works. And then we'll compare the two and give us 10 years. Give us 5. Let's,
5.
Yeah.
To invest in children.
Yeah.
These fuckers will not. They won't even save them from mass shootings in schools.
Right.
So.
We've talked about that before. When you saw the very first time elementary school students were shot and killed. I mean, when we saw that for the first time, all humanity was done. It was over. I mean,
we
just
saw
humanity
Obama
was done.
Crying.
Correct. Yeah.
That was babies.
Yeah.
White babies with blonde and blue eyes, and the motherfuckers still sat at them hearings and they just would not vote.
Oh. Yeah, guns they're untouchable unless you are a potential felon. Yeah. You can put them in your hands and pretend like you're now a gun nut and buy one. But other than that, like I said, when nothing happened there, you just knew we were in big trouble.
Sandy Hook.
Yeah,
a rich area too, kind of well-to-do. And those Republicans snubbed and looked at them like they were
And we even at the time, until he was sued for multi-millions of dollars, allowed somebody to run around and say that didn't even really happen.
Yeah. Imagine
they were actors.
That. Did you see those hearings? The parents testified that you had people going to the graves of those children to pee on it. Like, Hillary was right. Hillary was right.
Hillary's always been right. And the fact that Hillary Clinton is not our president right now, I think is just I don't know. That's one of the, it's makes no sense. It makes no sense. But anyway, we are going to wrap up tonight's show unless, Lana, you have nothing.
I'll let you go pack and do everything.
We have no Vivek Ramaswamy things to report tonight. It is pretty.
Sorry. You're gonna watch the debate tomorrow?
No,
you're on vacation.
No. You know what? In fact, I meant to say that. I'm almost so happy I'm gonna be in Las Vegas because I'll feel zero obligation to watch that clown show. I mean, first of all, again, what are we talking about? A stage full of C-D players that have no chance of becoming president of the United States. What's the point?
We watched it the last time just because we needed to know, what they were going to do, if they were going to attack Trump, what their game plan was. But there is no game plan. There's no point. What are they going to talk about this time?
And let's say they even do attack Trump. Who cares?
Right.
What difference does it make? What are they going to say that everybody all of a sudden you're going to wake up the next day and go, holy shit, Tim Scott is now leading Donald Trump?
Yeah, it's not worth it anymore. It's not worth it. The first one, I just don't even know what.
Out of curiosity, you watch that one.
Yeah, right. 'Cause I
Morbid.
don't- What would they? Is it a different format? Is the audience going to ask the questions because of the like? Yeah.
Well, it's going from Fox News to Fox Business Channel, so I think that's supposedly the more serious of the two.
It's the same shit. Abortion. Democrats want to kill babies at 52 weeks, and just the bullshit lies.
They literally opened the last debate with them playing that stupid song by that guy, and it's just like, this is really the debate. This is opening the debate. And the funny thing is, after that, the guy came out and said, that song wasn't about you people. That was about you. That was about, So, and I'm glad he said it, and I'm glad he came out. The song's still not good. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people like the song. Who gives a shit? So, Lana, do you want to tell us about what you have going on Thursday night on the Quest Show?
Yes, please join me this Thursday, September 28th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be interviewing Tanya, I think that's how she pronounces her name, Fernandez Anderson. She is a councilwoman from Boston D7. She won her primary, so I get to talk to her about her vision for District 7 in Boston. I've interviewed her before.
I remember you
she
saying
won
that.
before. Yeah. So.
I will see if I can set my laptop on the one of the poker tables as I'm in Vegas and see if they'll let me watch it while I'm in Vegas. If they don't, I will watch the replay. I promise you.
Yeah, she's great. I liked her. And she has a great future in politics. Yeah.
Good. Well, we look forward to that. Check Lana out on Thursday night at 8:00 live on YouTube. And you can find that on the Quest Show. We will be back next week, but on Wednesday.
Like, share, subscribe.
Damn it. I forgot to put the little banner up. Lana, do me a favor. Will you monitor that, on the next show, and make sure, because I keep forgetting. I don't know why I keep forgetting that.
Because you want to say like, share, and subscribe at the end. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to ask people.
Well,
share, and subscribe.
I told you I'll let you lead the charge on that one, because what do I know? I don't know anything. So
and thank you to any new subscribers that we have.
We picked up a few, and I know this doesn't sound like a very big deal because we are just starting, but we are very close to 100 subscribers. That's a nice little.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a nice little start.
Yeah.
Once we hit 100.
Yeah.
It's on to 110.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
We're picking up subscribers every week, and I appreciate that. I know, Lana, you have I'm sure a lot to do with that, with helping out with tweeting out the show and the clips and all that stuff. And we do appreciate that. But we will be back here. You're good for next Wednesday?
Sure. Yes.
Sure.
As far as
if you're not, just let me know.
I'll let you know, but Wednesday.
All right. Yeah. Obviously, we're usually Tuesday nights, but this week we'll be doing it on Wednesday because I'll be flying back on Tuesday. So outside of that, Lana, I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope everybody watching and listening
have a great trip.
Oh, that is the plan. You never know with Vegas. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but I will have a report next Wednesday as how that went. And if you have any questions for me or the show, you can email me at runshousepodcast@gmail.com. Outside of that, thank you guys for watching. Lana, always great to talk to you. Great to see you. And we will see you next week. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye.